Stephen, great to see you.
Good to
Thanks.
see you, Paul.
Thanks for making some time to come and have a chat. You said to me the other week, you said, I want to build the first unicorn, one person unicorn, which is a very interesting statement. But then you also said, and I want to help a load of other people build one person unicorns. I mean, what's going on there then? Tell us about that.
Yeah, great question. So all started, I've had the blessed opportunity to be able to I have run three accelerators where we help startups and businesses grow. And that's been a history to where I am today. So let me share a little bit there. So I ran at Brigham Young University when the e-commerce was a big deal. It was just
Right.
starting. Kevin Rollins he put in 8 million and helped me start out an accelerator there for e-commerce. And I helped startup companies ride that wave, create e-commerce software, create e-commerce business models. And then I had an opportunity where Michael Dell gave me 25 million to create the digital slash social incubator
Right.
accelerator. And that was where, digital media was going to be big, social, what are we going to do there? And then help companies launch and we spent a lot of money helping that out and learning. After that, I was able to launch my own startup called Predictive Science, and we grew that one um, really fast with some major clients. And then this last wave, I was able to work for Western Governors University, and ran their AI New Ventures slash accelerator, helping
Right.
startups as well.
Right.
As I was doing that, something really big happened that I noticed that hadn't happened before. And I remember looking up the term vibe coding, and it had just been patented and it just released. And where people can just go in and talk to AI and have their products built. And I thought, man, that no other time in history can you just go in and just build out your own product with AI and without knowing how to code. So I left Western Governors. I spent 18,000 hours vibe coding because I really had to learn how to do this.
Wow.
And I built out a lot of major products. I remember finishing one product, and that same week I finished it. It was a sales product where you could like run role plays
Right.
with another fake salesperson that you would create or company that you're trying to sell into. And we did all of that. I did personally all of that, and I had all these features, and it role played in 40 languages across any sales methodology. And then a company got $40 million in funding, and I compared our products feature by feature, and I had a lot more, but they had, over 100 plus employees. Um, so that to me was like a testament. I was like, okay, one person with AI can build a product that is as robust and a lot more features than a company with 100, and with because of this vibe coding. So that got me thinking is how do I teach people how to do this because they could automate all of their agents, build their internal processes, and they could do it very inexpensively. But for you to do it, you need to learn how to be a product manager,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
AI architect, and you have to have all this mental models. And then when you vibe code, you have to plan out. It's like building a house. If you don't architect it and you just build a room and then you build something here, you're gonna have problems eventually. And then if you're trying to sell it into the enterprise where they want SOC 2 compliance or HIPAA, or if you want to go in GDPR, you got to infuse all of that in your product. And if
Yeah.
you haven't architected it, it becomes extremely hard. So I thought, well, I'm going to take all this experience from having vibe coded all these products and build a new product that goes in and it just interviews you. It acts like a product manager, an architect. It designs your system. It architecture modularly, and it helps build everything out. So you just have to enter the prompts. So you still vibe code, but they're solid prompts and they're all interrelated. So I built that, and as soon as I built that, all those 18,000 hours I've had of vibe coding various products um, helped me realize that when it took me months or many weeks to build one, I could build the same in 2 days now.
Yeah.
because all of that work had been done and it's enterprise grade, it's standard. Um, so that led me to, though, I now can launch my own accelerator to now help others vibe code and become their own unicorns because they can act with AI and say, look, build me this, or help me build a marketing tool, or help me build a sales tool, or let me build this and sell it, or let me train people on AI, or let me build my own AI consulting practice. And AI can then automate and help them with the whole process, and it opens up the doors. So I take that pattern and I said, okay, let me launch the accelerator. So Aspen AI was conceived and launched about 5 weeks ago. We're going to be holding, vibe coding classes, AI accelerated classes, providing them with this tool that helps them then launch their own AI business and
Mm.
consulting practice and training programs. And that sets you to what you asked me originally is with AI as your partner done right, you can build that. You can now launch that $1 million ARR company. And that's the mission I have to help people out.
Yeah. I've got to say, Stephen, I love to see a bit of ambition. That's a decent sized ambition. So well done on, I mean, I don't even know how you thought of it really. I mean, this is a great idea. Let me ask you about a very practical example. Let's
Yeah.
say somebody like me, I mean, we were just sort of chatting about an example before we came on. I mean, if somebody like me wanted to build something, I mean, just give us a flavor of how that works.
Yeah. Great question. So if you wanted to build something, I have a I have an I come in and do an assessment where we just meet for like 30 minutes. We brainstorm something you want to build. I enter it into the tool and it goes out. It asks you a whole bunch of questions. Then it maps everything out and gives you the prompts. So you're ready to go build it. So an example would be this happened a lot. I've had 4 people this last week. They said there's this cool called Marbleism, Steve, where it like there are like 6 agents and it helps me with my sales, my marketing, my creating my content.
Mhm.
And they charge me $99 a month, but they don't do everything I wanted to do. It's very
Mhm.
restricted to me. I want to create those 6 agents myself. Um, can I do that? And I said, okay, very cool. So you can come in and enter the URL at Marbleism, and it goes out and looks at all of Marbleism's website, all the product features. The AI comes back and said, oh, here's all the requirements, business requirements, and then here's all the technical requirements, and here's all the tasks you need to do, and then is the architecture of how Marbleism, like how AI would build it out. And then here's all the modules that require to build out a system like Marbleism. And here are the 30 prompts. And then the user just has to go in and copy and paste those 30 prompts into a Lovable or a Replit or Claude Code. And then the product's built. And then
Well,
now they
it's
have
kind of
complete control of it.
I mean, it's kind of like personalized software development that's automated.
Yes, completely that.
Yeah, how extraordinary. And I mean, let me ask you, right? Because I love the ambition, and I get the proposition, the kind of personalized, automated software development. I mean, I think that's brilliant. I mean, I can absolutely see why lots of, if you like, non-techie people would come to you and say, this is great. How will you turn that into $1 billion a year business? Because that's a big jump. Just how do you see that working?
Well, according to Sam Altman and then even Elon Musk, the personalized software development business of building software customized to your processes is where the market's going,
Yeah, I can see that.
right? So they're investing billions and trillions of dollars from OpenAI and others building with big companies currently right now, where they just look at the process and then they have their software consultants come in and then redesign it and then build out a whole new software stack for them for their specific needs, automating all the processes, um, upskilling people, many times getting rid of people, and reinventing the whole way business is done. They're doing that at the top level. They're working with McKinsey, Deloitte, and others.
Mm.
Well, I plan help in that process, but also do that for the SMB business and the
Mm.
solo entrepreneur, where they're figuring out I can't afford a McKinsey, I can't afford a
Mm.
Deloitte to come in and help me out. They cost way too much money. I'm used to paying all of these people to come in and build me
Yeah.
software, right? 30
Mm.
to 60,000 just for the software to start, maybe even 200 to 600,000. So I hope to really automate that and allow those SMBs, mid-market, to have the power that a McKinsey, that
Yeah.
working with OpenAI individually would give them. And that service market is what I plan to do it. But I don't plan to do it alone. I plan to enable all of these consultants, anybody that wants to go in and do that, to have the tool to do that. So you don't have to have all of that training. You don't have to have all of that AI skills. You working with our AI PX tool allows you to go in and do that for any business.
Wow. So you could create a bunch of one person consultancy businesses that then go and do that for other people, couldn't you? I mean, that's one outcome from it. My guess is that the McKinseys of this world are not going to be very happy about what you're doing. I mean, do you think there's a threat there?
Well, they can use a tool as well. So the cool thing was the tools, it enables like someone like you or others that may not have like advanced engineering degrees to go out and do this work. But I've also had engineers starting to use it, like engineers
Right.
with 30 years of experience saying, "Oh my goodness, this is saving me many, 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 many hours of time." Where if I have $1 million project and I have to go create all the requirements, all of the assets, all the architecture, this does it all for me, and then I can just go and build it. Um, so I think at some point we will be working closely with these partners to be able to enable it in the enterprise as well, and empower them, so that Mackenzie can then become. And the one thing that came up last week was companies are now demanding that we shift from an hourly rate to a for a Mackenzie consultant to a results rate.
Yeah.
So,
It's going to
okay,
change their business model, isn't it? I can see
change the
that.
business
Yeah.
model, right? So this tool can help people do that. And I want to also provide the community around it, and it's a builder community. So it's not only a tool, but everybody helping each other to build and take that leap. Because there's a lot of fear out there now where I have a lot of friends been displaced because companies are automating it with AI, and they're not they completely they don't know how to tackle that AI front for their careers,
Yeah.
because some of them may be later in their careers where they're like, I've done something like this for 40 years, 35 years, but I've been displaced, and if I get hired again, am I going to get displaced again? So in that case, we need to just enable them with tools so that they can be ready to be able to take on a new challenge in their life. And that's the goal I have, is give them that opportunity to learn quickly, and not to have like the major in-depth retooling
Yeah. And
that is needed.
let me ask you about the community piece. I mean, why is that important to you particularly? Because you could just simply sell it as a one and done kind of thing. I mean, how do you see the value of the community piece in there?
Because as technology evolves, like there is already like, there's a faction of people saying, I'd love to use Lovable, others Cloud Code, others Replit, and there's going to be more tools across the enterprise where you build AI products on that.
Mm.
And then, so that will keep growing and opportunities will come up. So as you do that, I'm not going to be able to say I'm going to learn every single Replit
Mm.
new version out there or new feature that comes out. But if I provide your community with a tool that enables you to work across those, the community itself will support that builder. The community itself will open opportunities. So if you created a tool and you want to launch it, the community itself can adopt it and give you feedback. Um, so it helps scale your learning, scale your networking in a way that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do it, especially virtually. So I'm a strong believer of like you can live anywhere. You don't have to attend all those conferences. You can attend those online, and you could be able to meet people online that will help you get there. And that plus a tool, plus the knowledge you've been endowed with can get you to where you want to
Yeah.
build that company.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very interesting point, mate, you're making about the fact that lots and lots of people live and work remotely from, and this is what you're doing seems to me to be very timely in the context of that. How have customers responded to it? I mean, I know it's relatively early days still. I mean, what sort of responses are you getting from customers, users?
Yeah, it's been very good. Let's see. I just had one customer start yesterday that helped them out, and I'll just giving him as an example. Um, if, as he was going through and getting started with AI, he had this idea, and he's been working through the idea where you use Lovable or a prompt, and you go in there and you're like, okay, I got to add this feature. And then does this go next? Or what should I do with this next? And when you go to AI and ask what you should build, it gives you a long list. Uh, and then you kind of just end up getting stuck, knowing not where to go and how things work. So I got far, but I don't know what to do next.
Right.
And then when I have to add like HIPAA, it becomes then they're like, I have no idea how to do that now, right? Like there's too many. I can't go read the HIPAA law, or
Yeah, yeah.
so those are so that you get to this point where you're stuck vibe coding and you want help. So he says, Steve, I want help. So we went in there, we sat down with the AI tool for, an hour, and the AI tool started asking him questions, and it flushed out his little requirements. It probably helped him build out. He was using AI to help to answer the AI questions, but he probably ended up with like a 100-page requirement document. And he entered in AI. AI took it and gave him all the prompts. And then a few hours, he had already started building his tool. If you said the old tool you tried to build was like maybe at 10% out of 100, this one already off the gate was at 80 to 90% in the
Wow.
first few prompts entered. And then he's going to go on to finish it. But he was amazed. He's like, I could not humanly comprehend, and my mind's blown away right now with everything that this is analyzing and teaching me,
Mm,
and then putting together and structuring. Um, like a human can't digest that.
mm,
And I had another one as well yesterday, and he's like, things that would have taken me days, weeks to put together for a software development project is now put together in 30 minutes
mm,
and organized for me. So that differentiation. And then yesterday I had another meeting where people were really struggling with like, oh, AI, it hallucinates. AI, it doesn't, it's not compliant, it's not secure, right? Like all of those issues have been solved now. And you can now build and you can now structure and move forward with those issues resolved. Um, and those are game changers. In a leap forward for AI, a leap forward for businesses,
yeah.
things made easy. So yeah, those are the
Mm.
customers. It's a major level up on how
Yeah.
people are building.
And before you came on, we were talking about an example, a networking example within an app. I mean, just for the benefit of people that have no, I mean, just talk people through that because I think the example really illustrates, if you like, how easy it is to use your technology to do the thing that you want to do. Just talk us through that very simple example.
Oh yeah. So there's several tools out there, but I'm a part of this group where they meet online many times a week, and
Right.
people network and they share experiences. And there's a really cool platform that they use. Very expensive. It's like $6.99 per event, where you could do webinars and then you could go out and meet breakout sessions and do networking online. And I said I would really like to have that as a foundation to what Aspen AI, our
Yeah.
community,
Yeah.
uses. But I can't pay $6.99 a month. That's a lot. And these tools have been around for a long time. So they haven't been in the vibe coding world. They've been in the regular stuff or stack world. So I say, you know what? Let me add that. Let me just put the requirements in my tool to build it out. And, in 20 minutes, it went in and told me how to build this whole thing out. And then yesterday I had a couple hours and I started to build it out. And hopefully by today or tomorrow I'll have it finished and rebuilt the whole tool. And it does it all, what I need for it. And I could even sell it or use it myself. So it'll be a whole SaaS
But just,
software
just,
tool.
just to illustrate for me, I mean, what sort of things does it do? And just to give people a flavour of I mean, what does it do if you were to use it?
So it'll be a web conference tool where you can go and do like a Zoom. So I have a Zoom component to presentations and you can
Right.
chat with people. And then you can break out into a networking session where you can go in different tables or different rooms and move around like Second
Wow.
Life in our days. And then you can meet people in that room and then choose to go to a different room and meet more people. And then you can chat individually or in a group. just like we're chatting right now.
Yeah, that's
Um,
extraordinary, and so simple, really. I mean, well done on thinking it up. I don't even know you thought of it. Let me ask you about doing this, right? I mean, if you go back to the moment when you decided to do this, would you say things have turned out better or worse than you expected?
um, the moment I started vibe coding, I could say it's scary, where you're starting all over again. There's this song by I Am Tongi that says, he's this American Idol winner. He says, starting all over again can be hard.
Yeah,
Um,
I get that.
so when you're an entrepreneur, you're like, okay, I'm gonna jump into this world of vibe code. Haven't done it before. People say AI is really easy. There's a lot of fear going on, very
Yeah,
uncertain.
yeah, yeah,
You're like, I'm putting financial, I'm invest. It's like going to school, but there's no school for it, right? And then you start building things, and your first tool you build may take longer than you wanted, and then you start realizing, oh, I can do multiple tools at once because you got to wait. And so, but as you go through that process and you pivot and you understand opportunities and you talk to a lot of people, that's why networking is so important. um, it will flush out what you're trying to do, perfect it, and then provide an opportunity you never thought of. And when I was preparing for my PhD, I never went out and did it, but I was preparing for it. There was this garbage can model that I learned where you throw in all of the things you're doing and that you've done in your life and experience into like a can, a garbage can, and
right.
then out of it pops out a diamond. And that's kind of how it works, and especially with AI. When you're if you're struggling how to figure out AI, what's my position? I just lost my job. What do I do next? Are the same skills I've had going to keep applying? You got to jump in, put it on the can, pivot, 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 and you're going to come out better than you were.
Yeah,
And AI will help you get there.
yeah.
And people like us helping each other out.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely, and I'm totally with you on that. I'm a great believer that when you run into problems, the best people to talk to are other entrepreneurs if you're in business because they understand what it's like. And how, to what extent would you say your personal values have shaped the way you've approached this?
Great question. So I'm a Christian, and my personal values have been, as you're starting all over again, I lean on God, or my Heavenly Father for guidance and direction in a tumultuous and hard to navigate world, and that gives you strength. Your family gives you strength, and your family believes. And so I would say that friends, God, family, those will help you through those tough times when you're trying to figure out what's next, or how do I navigate AI, or how do I
And
prepare
how have
myself
they
for my next job.
influenced your business? I mean, your previous point was absolutely right. I mean, I totally get that. But how have those values particularly influenced your business, would you say?
Well, I think it is easy to just do what you've done and not make a change, right?
Mm,
So I've
mm,
been building my process. I've been in this career. I have not changed the way I've worked. So for you to jump into AI, get your feet wet, start investing money on something you don't know is going to give you a good outcome, reskilling, or in this case, building this business, family support, God support, um, giving to others, right? Because and by giving and helping and serving others, you start pivoting the right way and you start learning the right way. That has all helped because it's easy for me to go in and say, well, I'm just going to build my first product and just sell it and care about myself. And you can make a lot of money that way, or my second or third. But I passed on all that and said, no, I'm going to build a tool that's going to help everybody else do it. So, and that took a lot of patience from a family to see, well, that was a really good product. Oh,
And would
that
you
was a
say
really
that's
good product.
underpinned by your Christian values?
Yeah, Christian values, and then a strong family supportive value.
Right.
And then also being able to want to help others. I think my ability to work in three accelerators of serving others and helping them succeed has been core to this as well.
Yeah. I mean, those decisions I think are really interesting. What would you say has been the most difficult decision that you've had to take?
Oh, difficult decision for an entrepreneur is to keep hanging and keep going,
Yeah.
right? Where times get tough, it takes longer than you thought it'd take. It takes more money. You need to raise more money. You need to depend on others. Like those are just keep going is a hard thing to keep going.
Mm,
Um, it's always easy to quit and say, I'm just gonna go get a job, right? Or it's over. But that becomes really tough. Is like endure the game, and the game will benefit.
mm.
It'll pay dividends.
And would you say that that has influenced how you think about the future? I mean, because what you're talking about is resilience, really, and the
Yeah,
ability to be generous to other people, even though you're not getting everything you want, perhaps. I mean, has that influenced any, and if so, in what way has that influenced the way that you plan to build a business? I mean, I love this idea about helping other people become unicorns. I mean, that was the thing that really struck me. I mean, I've spoken to a few people that want to become a one-person unicorn. I've never come across somebody who says, and I want to make a load of other people one-person unicorns.
yeah. It was a shift in my mind when I wanted to be able to go from let me just take all my knowledge and what I have and just go help companies out myself and build my own
Mm,
personal consulting practice to a I want to build tools and capabilities to allow others.
mm,
And I remember telling my wife, like, okay, it's only like 2,400 a year, and I'll support a company to do this. And she's like, Steve, like from your consulting deals, just in like one day you make that, and now you're like gonna do that per year per person. Like that doesn't work. Like, what are you doing,
yeah, yeah.
right? And that was and everybody's like, that's super cheap. And I'm like, no, I really want to help other people do this,
Mm,
right? So it is it's a sacrifice to do that. And I mean, what I could just make for one company, I'm trying to help others out. So it's a different model financially. It's a lot more people to make the model work, and it's a lot of service
mm,
to do that. So you do have to have that shift
mm,
mentally,
yeah.
um, for that, like you're
It's not an
saying.
easy it's not an easy shift to make because what you're saying is I won't take away as much money today because a part of what I want to do is help other people. That's what you're saying. You're prioritizing helping other people rather than just making a lot of money in the short term.
Yeah, exactly. Because you don't want to compete against all those other people. And not, I could just keep my product siloed to myself and just do a great job there.
Mm.
But instead, I do want to help others out, so it makes the model change a little bit, or a
Yeah,
lot actually.
yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And let me ask you about the flip side to that. I mean, presumably you've had failures along the way. I mean, what would you say has been your biggest failure, and what did you learn from it?
Oh, that's great. So you learn like with vibe coding, as I vibe coded the 18,000 hours, like one of my major failures was realizing that the compliance and security, I underestimated that importance when
Right,
building software. So after having spent months building this software that I thought was going to be killer, um, and then my first clients are like, "Okay, are you CCPA compliant? Are you, SOC 2 compliant? Are you HIPAA compliant?" I was like, after researching what to do for those and realizing that I have a pretty robust product, but not knowing how to completely change it.
right,
And I
okay.
was like, it's probably easier for me to redo the whole thing after 2 months or so to get it to that compliance. That was hard. But because I did that, and I had actually built a few at that time, because I actually did that, I realized I needed a tool like AIPX from the beginning because you cannot, it's really extremely hard to to reconfigure your whole product to do that in such a short period of time. Um,
And let me ask you, has that influenced how you think about risk? I mean, for example, are you far more sort of careful at the beginning of a project like that to try and think it through first rather than kind of jump in? I mean, what has it affected how you think about risk?
So what that affected me with, like when you go to an AIPX now and you put my tool up, um, it will tell you how much it's going to take, how long, if when you scale past a certain number of people, how much will it cost? It'll take you how much it costs to be HIPAA compliant and all those compliances, and you could add it on, and then it'll tell you how much money you make. So I built that in for any user to know from day one their cost, timeline,
Wow.
estimates, and
Wow.
and the amount of money they'll make from this product, and they can change it and estimate it. And then I have an executive report that they can send out to their executive. So I'm like, I'm gonna give it in the product to everybody so that they have all that set before they go in and start prompting. Um, so I built that ingrained into, and then I built this portfolio part where if you had like six products, you could compare against each other to decide which one you want to invest your time in. So it caused me to add that all into the product.
Wow. And I mean, when I talk to entrepreneurs, they what they will say to me is that they make mistakes every day. They
Yeah.
get things wrong all the time. I mean, I think pretty much. I mean, there are only two kinds of people in the world. There are people that make mistakes and people that pretend they don't. Some politicians, for example, that pretend they don't make mistakes. But the truth is, we all make mistakes. How do you how do you prepare to be wrong? Because things go wrong a lot. I mean, how do you prepare for that?
Oh, how do you prepare to be wrong? Well, prepare to be wrong. Um, I think personalities are different. Like in my sense, so this is a pattern I developed, and I go for an hour walk every morning.
Right,
And before I start my day, I call it my walk with God and my walk with AI. And I split the time where I talk to God first and I review all my plans and get his inspiration. And then I go in and hash it out with AI in detail. And I have it in
right,
my glasses. And I will just hash out my day and with those two. And then twice a week I'll go walk with my wife and then she becomes part of the hashing out process. And so uh, every day I wake up with a hashed out day and
right.
a reevaluated day the next day, um, and that has helped me plan out my day, review challenges I faced or wrong,
So you're
like being
talking about
wrong.
debugging, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a planning and debugging that
Yeah,
happens every single day, and that has been a very blessed activity I add throughout my day.
yeah,
The days I don't do it are hard because you get in this grind. And when you grind in software and you don't take time to architect or to debug or to test,
mm,
you end up with a mess. So that becomes very important is to not end up with a mess when you can do that every day.
yeah. I mean, that's a very good point, I think. I mean, the process of, I mean, we call it debugging or whatever, but what you're really talking about is thinking, about thinking things through, isn't it? To try and make sure that your logic's correct and that it's going to deliver the things you have. And I think there's tremendous amount of value in doing that rather than just running around doing the next thing. I mean, it's really important to spend a bit of time thinking, I think, which is really what you're talking about. So I totally get that. What kind of headaches keep you up at night? I mean, you talked about going out for a walk every morning and that helps you kind of work through stuff. I get that. Presumably, you've woken up at the crack of dawn with something in your mind. I mean, what kind of headaches are keeping you awake?
I think for any entrepreneur, like money is a headache,
Yeah,
right? Like, how long will this take me? And, when is my break even? And how am I gonna pivot to take off? Right? I think that's always something that you're penny pitching and you're watching. Um, and in the end of the day, that is what it's the heart. That's what causes a business to go under, right? Is the financial part of it. Um,
you mean
the other
running out of
one
money? You mean running out of money?
running out of money, right? If you're starting an ancient entrepreneur, and even when you're growing and scaling, that's dangerous too, because if
Yeah,
you add
yeah,
people and people and people, then that becomes really hard. Um, and then the second part would be product market fit. Like I feel like I'm achieving product market fit because of
yeah,
the reaction and what people are saying and how the product works and the out amazing factor when people are like, oh wow, that's pretty I just did that. Like, no
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
right? So and then I so those are the two. So if you can make sure you have your right runway and then you have product market fit. Um, and then the third one would be competitor advantage. Is this going to outlast, OpenAI and others who can build really fast and keep adding features to
And
their products?
that's a really interesting point, Stephen. I mean, one of the things that I think worry a lot of people is that because things are changing so fast, people's competitive positioning will get eroded very quickly. I mean, what's your take on that exact point? I mean, how long will it be before somebody comes up with something that is equally as good as yours or better? I mean, because it's entirely possible, isn't it? And how do you
Oh
ward off?
yes,
How do you keep that
it's,
at bay?
oh, especially with a product like mine where you just enter the URL and then
Yeah.
you're like, it duplicates the product that the person spent hundreds of millions to build. Um, yeah, so in a position like that, um, building out the data sources, um, the community, or things that make it really harder to copy become really critical, and it's the service mindset becomes very critical into building any product you have. Um, there's a site that someone pointed me out to, and it like you enter your URL, and it tells you what are the odds that Claude is going to kill it in the
Right.
next few
Okay.
years, and like it's a horrible site because instead of AI being nice, it's like it tells you how dumb you are and how loser your business is and how it's going to get destroyed and demolished. It's a
I mean,
horrible site.
presumably it was produced by an ex-astronaut. I mean, that's in the astronaut world. Not that
Yeah,
I'm not an astronaut, but I've read a bit about it. They have this saying, which is the most important thing to know is what's going to kill you next.
yeah.
And I
And,
mean,
and
what you're
they
saying is there's a tool to help you work out whether this
well,
your
and
thing could
it's
be killed.
yeah, and they blocked this feature because you could enter your LinkedIn profile and it
Right.
tells you how fast you can get displaced and how your life is going to be miserable, right? They
That is
stopped that part.
terrifying, isn't it?
It's horrible. So that's something you're always thinking about. But I know in the AI game, the more team features and the more department features, the more data you add, the more community elements you add, that helps with the lack of this, like it helps. Uh, ease that burden,
Yeah.
but you're in a race where focusing, getting things right, scaling, right, and then building those you got to run, um, and you got to get that product market fit before you run out of money, and then moving it. But that's a game you have to play.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
those are some of the variables I carry.
it ain't going to change, is it? So you've just got to ride it, or you're going to get drowned. That's a bit. I mean, let me ask you about something you just mentioned. I mean, you just talked about the data. Of course, you've got building a big community around this. I mean, you're going to end up with huge amounts of data. I mean, what's the data play here? What are you going to do with that data? Is it about understanding trends? Is it about selling it to advertisers? I mean, what are you going to do with that data? Because it's going to produce mountains of it
Well,
eventually.
so the data I have that's valuable because so I don't keep any data on the products you're building because I get a lot of those like saying,
Right.
Steve, are you looking at my product? Because like you can't copy it, or you got to sign an NDA, or because
Yeah.
everybody's it's their IP.
Yeah.
Uh, the data I build is around all the compliance,
Right.
around the technologies used to build out your stack. It's around requirements, gathering that requirements, getting your product in a way that it can create more perfection of a product, and how it's built. Um, Also integrations. I have a whole like I have like over 500 different integrations people can do with APIs and data sets that they can test out. So it's really being able to give them the data that they would need to then build out their products. That's what makes the IPX
It's kind
strong.
of a feedback loop, isn't it?
Yeah, a feedback loop to build that out, right?
Yeah.
And be able to put all the brain. What I've heard lately is like, Steve, all my project assets and everything is in one place, and AI makes me think smarter because I've aggregated it all into one place and built it in one
Right.
place. So
Right.
that helps. But that's the kind of data I accumulate, not project specific data. That's the customers.
Right. Okay. And I mean, how do you feel about, I mean, given that you're trying to build a one-person unicorn, I mean, perhaps calling you the CEO is not the right title. I don't know, but how do you feel about that job?
Oh, well, I don't know completely how it's gonna happen, right? Like I know like the market's big. This is where I'm starting and how I'm enabling the tool build out. Um, I know that I'm moving in this direction. I know it could end up that way, and I could forecast it that way. But that I completely I don't know that all the steps forward, but I know it's coming that direction, and I know I'm humble enough to change course, but I have a big goal. Um, so that kind of I don't know if anybody has a magic like a complete here's exactly how it's going to
Yeah, I
work,
don't think anyone's
right?
got a magic wand, if that's what you're
No,
about
you
to
can
say.
set
They
a
don't
goal and you can
exist.
move towards it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so that's kind of where I how I set my
Yeah.
course.
And as you've developed, I mean, would you say that you're, I'm interested in the way you make decisions here. Would you say that you're, as you've become more experienced, is how has your definition of good decision making changed over time? I mean, would you say that you're a faster decision maker now or thoughtful decision maker? I mean, how have you changed in on that front?
Um, I have I have learned to lead on God a lot more than on myself
Right.
um, in my decision making because he does know more than I can know, and so that has I remember my wife saying once like she's like, "Hey, you should pray all the time about decisions," and I'm like, "Well, I pray and I don't get answers for everything." But I've learned to be able to get answers for things and to use that as a guide. So that has really helped where I realize like doing it by yourself is really tough.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
assume thinking you know everything is really tough. Um, so being able to be disciplined, be able to set the good habits and be able to be humble through it, but then be resilient. Those become really important factors. And knowing you'll be wrong a lot, like that is all
Yeah.
like you'll be wrong, but as long as you can have the right path forward, like you're gonna hit something.
Yeah. I
You can
mean,
make it.
part of what was behind my question is that I mean, being a CEO in and of itself is lonely enough. I mean,
Sure.
you're saying I'm going to do it on my own as well, which I mean, it's a tough, it's emotionally tough. I think is what I'm getting. It's not just technically a difficult challenge; it's an emotionally difficult challenge. Somebody said to me that the key to being a CEO is to get comfortable being uncomfortable. I mean, what's been your experience?
Yeah, I think having a support group and talking through things, especially if it's AI or God and your spouse and then others, is very important
Yeah,
for a CEO. Um, and that if you don't have that and you don't do that and you're just on your own, it becomes extremely lonely.
yeah,
Um, and especially if you're like in a remote area, like I'm in Rexburg, Idaho, where it's like 45 minutes from Yellowstone, like you don't have that support group you may have in Silicon Valley. So, or in Austin, Texas. So you have to be able to have these different channels that enable you to do that.
yeah.
Um, but AI gives you that, God gives you that. You have family, and then virtual networks give you that, and that helps out tremendously.
And what does that say about you as a leader, would you say?
Um, oh, of trying to build a one-man unicorn,
Yeah,
leading AI. Uh, so I realize that AI is going to do a lot of the work for you, and the best way to lean on it is really lean on it. Um, and then as I lean on others through contract work, right? That was next step. But I think unless you jump into something and you really want to work on it, then you won't be able to get it done because the old model, and I've grown many teams of hundreds. The old model is like, oh, I need sales. Let me go hire four sales guys.
mm,
And that's an easy model that people are using nowadays versus, well, how much can I do with AI? And then what do I need to hire with it? Like to reconstruct the whole model, you have to reconstruct the way you think about things. and
Yeah.
how you do things with AI. Um, so that's the break. That's why this mentality is the right way to do it. And I see other companies where, one to three people, they're at 5 million, 10 people, they're at 10 million, and they go at 20 to 100 million. So and then the whole new model is catching on
Mm.
of where you don't need that many people to get 100 million.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting. I mean, what was behind my question is that, I mean, it's not the only definition, but one of the definitions of leadership is having followers. I mean, what you're
Yeah.
basically saying is, I'm going to just go and do it. And I don't care whether anybody follows me or not. I mean, other than perhaps customers. That's the thing about a one-person unicorn, isn't it? Is that it doesn't require, if you like, followership in the same kind of way as conventional. I think that was what was behind my question. Let me ask you something slightly different. What would you say is the best piece of advice you've been offered? I mean, you presumably had lots of advice along the way. I mean, what would be the best piece?
Oh, I think my wife's best piece of advice is just ask God in prayer. That was been the best advice. And it's been many years for me to figure that out. I don't know why it takes so long. Um,
And why has that been the best advice? I mean, is it because you spend time in contemplation and that helps you develop ideas and work things through and make decisions about the which way you want to go and stuff? I mean, why has that been such good advice?
the reason why it's been great advice is because you need to believe that he will talk back. And once you can break through that part of where he does talk back, and like once you get through that whole issue of like, I don't know if he's gonna do it, is he really there? But when he talks back and then you present to him, this is what I'm gonna do, or that's what he's gonna do, and there's no revelation, there is no conversation on this one. It is black. It's like no windows of heaven closed. And then when you show this one, revelation comes so much, and like you're like, okay, well, I gotta go, God, like Heavenly Father, I gotta go because I don't I don't have time for you right now because I gotta go. But it's coming, right? So you gotta give yourself patience. Once you realize that happens, then your life is in a different direction because you realize heaven and all its power is behind what you're trying to do
Quite
for your life.
comforting, I would have thought.
It's comforting, it's freeing, it is clear, it
Mm,
is for an entrepreneur, that's what you need. You need clarity.
mm,
You need to know that it's to you, it's personalized, and that you're
mm.
loved through the process. That helps a CEO a lot because then you may have little directions, but your big directions, it's clear.
Yeah. Let me ask you about the flip side. I mean, what's the worst piece of advice you've been offered? And did you take it?
Oh, um, the worst piece of advice I've been offered is so going in. So in the world, like we're moving really fast with AI, um, if you go get a job and you have all this AI IP
Yeah,
and you sign that legal agreement to go for an employer, they will lock in every IP you have and
yeah.
make your life miserable as you innovate, right? So the worst piece of advice for entrepreneur in AI right now is go get a job and sign that contract.
Mm,
Because once you do that, all of the AI, everything you've been doing is now that company's, and you can't really innovate outside of it because the terms are so restrictive to, oh, you were doing something with AI in your job, like in that business workflow. I need to own part of whatever else you're doing,
mm,
right? So that job restricts people a lot, and they don't know that.
mm.
Um, in the world where AI is just booming.
Yeah. And has that
So
happened to you? I mean, do you feel strongly about that because you made that mistake or you've just seen other people do it?
I started realizing the process of, well, in other times in this world where building software was really hard, so like you
Mm,
maybe spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to build your software. It was very quantifiable what you could build. Like this is my black box, I built it. These are my patents, right? So I'm I can you could quantify that. But when you could build and conceive of things in days, and you can really explode an idea and an innovation in days in this world right now, and that there is a free reign to go and do places. This is probably the best time to be an entrepreneur. This is the best time to go and explore and do your
Mm.
changes right now. And locking yourself in during this time could be very hard. Like
Yeah, yeah,
right now, like where we are today, because in 7 months things will change. But this is the time to go out and create new ventures and do that. So for
yeah.
all those that got laid off, this is a great time to go innovate.
I mean, it's interesting you say that. I mean, one of the things I think is great about the moment is that it's always been great to be an entrepreneur, I think. I mean, hard job, but great job.
Yeah.
Now you've got so much technology that is easily accessible. I mean, once upon a time, it was very expensive to build an app. Now, it doesn't take long and it doesn't cost much if you want to build an app. But the point is as the costs of technology have fallen, it's opened the door to lots and lots of other people being able to experiment with it, which I think is great, really. I mean, I'm biased. Obviously, I see a lot of stuff, but there's lots and lots and lots of things happening in a way that there perhaps wasn't when I first came into business. Okay, it's a long time ago now, and I think that's a really good thing.
Well, and the business jobs are changing. So if
Yeah.
you're in it and you're not evolving, but you're doing the same job, like that job's not going to be the same in 10 years or in 5 years or 3 years. So if
Mm.
you don't do it now and reskill now, you're going to have a hard time. You're
Yeah.
3 years from now, and and that's going to be a little harder to get back in the game.
Yeah, no, and I think that's good advice to people. Actually, anyone that's listening in that situation, that's good advice. Let me ask you a couple of questions just before we wind up. So, what if you were starting from scratch? Is there anything that you do differently, perhaps knowing what you know now?
Oh, I mean, I think building the product I have now couldn't have built if I had started from scratch. Um, because I wouldn't have had the experience. But I think also not putting in all the hours that I did to vibe code. Like you can't just like go out and say I'm an expert in AI without having put in all the
So those were
hours.
good things to do. You did those things. Is there anything
I
you
did
do
those things.
differently, perhaps? Anything you do differently there?
Um, it's a great question. What I would do differently? Well, I wouldn't have believed that you could just build. Oh, here's the thing. You have to realize what you're really good at. Like, what's your like over the last 30 years, what is your expertise? Because if you go out and build an app, like I built that sales app I was telling you about, and as I was selling it, people were asking me like, "What's your experience in sales?" And I've been an entrepreneur and grew companies, but I wasn't a sales leader or a sales expert, right? That wasn't, and I didn't wake up every morning studying sales methodologies and looking at patterns. So as I went in and sold the product, people were like, "Hey, what's your sales experience?" They wanted someone with experience and with to drive results. The technology is not what the technology is the enabler.
Mm.
So results, driving results for a company is what they really want,
Yeah,
and they want experts to get them there. So if you're starting a new venture, focus on what your experience and expertise is and build around it. So
yeah,
I've been in product management for the last 27 years and building products. So AIPX fits me really well, and I can tell people how it works.
yeah,
But sales was the wrong entry point for me at that time.
yeah, yeah. I mean, sales is an entry point for a lot of people, but you're right, it's not right for everyone, no doubt about that. And one final question. So, if you were to give a rookie CEO, somebody perhaps a bit like you, I mean, that was starting out, what would your number one piece of advice be?
Um, Great question. So my son, he just made it. He just and he graduated this year, and he made it to the top four. He was number four in doubles in the state of Idaho, and he was able to win, top four across all Idaho
What
for
sport?
doubles.
Tennis or?
Tennis.
Oh, wow,
Um,
wow, that's impressive. Well done.
yeah, it's a hard sport, but I look back. And with my other kids, what I'm doing different is I was supportive, and I let him know like he's not gonna play D1 college because as he grew up he didn't have that talent, right? But he worked hard, and I enabled him to do that. But as we were getting into past the recreational, now into the top four in the state, he was playing some people that were very good, and their strokes were perfected, and they were next level, right? Like there's this level barrier there,
Yeah,
like they
yeah,
were amazing. And I realized as a father who's played tennis before, I was supportive, but I did not critique and openly critique and give feedback across all those strokes across time as I should have. And now with my kid and the other sons, I have three other ones. We're playing every day, but I give really feedback, and I give really powerful feedback because I know that if your stroke can grow and you can solve that problems now and you can get that right, you can go and play at that level,
yeah.
but you can't teach that person that skill at that level the year before he has to play that tournament. It's kind of late. So you got to walk it through the whole way.
Mm.
And as a coach, you need to go in and give them the critique every day, and you got to fine tune things all the on the process. So as long as a young entrepreneur, you got to find someone that's going to give you that like hard feedback and get you in that process each time as you perfect it. Then you can play the D1 level or the pro level.
Mm.
But if you don't, you're going to hit that stage where it just won't work.
Mm.
So being open to feedback, really requesting it, um, and then perfecting those reps
Mm.
all along the way will get you to that D1 or
Mm.
the college
I mean,
play
I
or
think
the
that's such
pro.
important advice, Stephen. Seek out feedback. I mean, you don't. It must. It's when they say you well done. That's great. It boosts your confidence. When they say actually that didn't work, you could do it a different way. That's much more helpful feedback, isn't it? So I think your advice about seeking out feedback is a really good way to end the interview. Actually, so thank you for that, Stephen. I mean,
Oh, you're
really
welcome, Paul.
a great story. I mean, I love your ambition. I mean, like I say, you're the first person that said, I want to build a one-person unicorn and I want to help a load of other people build a one-person unicorn. I mean, that is such an impressive ambition that I can't help but hope that you're successful because, it'll be great for you. It'll be great for loads of other people. So thank you for making time to come and have a talk, have a chat with us, really, because it's a fascinating story and I mean, I suspect it will be such an exciting adventure for you and the people that you work with. So thank you.
Oh, and thank you, Paul, for having me on your show, for doing this, and for, I mean, continuously doing this for other entrepreneurs. So I appreciate all that time and dedication you put in
It's
for
been an
those listening
absolute
as
pleasure,
well.
Stephen. Thank you.
Thanks.
It's all right. See ya. Bye bye.
Bye.